Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Cimarron X77 from Cimarron's Enchanted Earth, and I'm here today to offer up the reading for the month of July 2025. So, for those of you who have watched my previous videos, you'll probably recognize this deck. It's the one that I use for the monthly readings, and I'll be pulling these cards to essentially do a overview of what you can expect for the month of July, things that you need to be aware of, things that you may have to navigate. Those things could be good things or they could be things that are challenges, but as with all things, they are necessary. So with that being said, about to get started with this reading. If you find that you enjoy this reading, please make sure that you like and you share, you follow. All support is appreciated on this channel. And without further ado, here we go. So, same as always, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these cards. For those of you who are just watching my videos for the first time, this particular deck is a custom one that I've made for the purpose of divination. Taking a deck of playing cards and turning them into a tool for divination. And it just so happens that this is one of my favorite ones, and admittedly it might be at least in part due to the fact that it's a deck that I made myself, but also it's a deck that I find to really offer great insights. The reading that I do with this deck is called Messages from the Ancestors, and this deck was fashioned in such a way that by using it as a tool of divination, I'm able to receive these messages from the ancestors and then be able to provide them to you, the reader, or excuse me, you, the viewer. So, that being said, I'm going to wrap up the shuffle. And let's go. So before I do this reading, I'm just going to move these cards up so that way you folks can see it a little easier. Then I'm going to get started. All right, so going left to right, top to bottom, the first card is the Nine of Hearts, and the Nine of Hearts represents wealth and wishes. This is a really good card to start off the month of July, or start off in terms of what represents what you can expect for the month of July. Because, I mean, who doesn't want wealth, right? Who doesn't want money, right? But in this case, Nine of Hearts, it represents more than just material wealth. It also represents wealth of an emotional kind. So it represents wealth in your relationships. It means having fulfilling relationships with people, having greater connectivity with them, forming deeper bonds and stronger ties with the people that are invested in you and you are invested in them. So on one hand, you could definitely look at this from the material perspective as it relates to wealth and view this as a time where you're going to be able to bring in more money, For those of you who may be entrepreneurs and you've kind of been stuck in a rut because it seems like things have been slow and you haven't been able to bring in the revenue that you want to, especially if you're very early on in the process, this card definitely represents you being able to finally just take that that deep breath of relief, that finally I catch a break. For those of you who have been part of Team W2 and have been working hard and putting in your hours and doing all the things that you need to do so that way you can thrive in your particular field, this is representative of you seeing a raise. So you could be getting a raise, you could be getting a bonus, you can be getting some sort of unexpected performance-based pay raise, and that is something that will not only be good for you, but it'll make you feel good too. Because again, with the Nine of Hearts, the primary consideration is the feeling, the emotions. So yeah, making more money is naturally going to make you feel good because you can do more when you have more, right? But this is bigger than just money. This is bigger than just the material. This is about the emotional wealth. This is about the physical wealth, the spiritual wealth. For those of you who have been considering starting a new workout routine, a new regimen, maybe you're looking to make some significant life changes. You realize the things that you've been doing and the way that you've been doing them don't really work for you the way that they used to. This is your indicator that things are changing and that whatever scarcity mindset you may have been in, whatever circumstances you found yourself in where you feel like you're lacking or you don't have enough of, Nine of Hearts represents the opposite of that. It represents a shift in that. It represents a change in not only your circumstances and experience, but your perspective in terms of what kind of circumstances and experiences you can have. And for that reason, it makes no surprise that the next card is the Seven of Spades, which advises you for the month of July to really be content in your strive for success. A lot of us feel like we might not be doing enough, or what we're doing doesn't really matter, or is not going to get us the results that we're looking for, because we've just been grinding away and perhaps we haven't really seen the material manifestation of the intangible efforts that we've been putting in terms of time, in terms of energy, in terms of just that raw emotion that we experience on a day-to-day basis, just trying to survive. So with the Seven of Spades is letting you know you can be content with the job that you've been doing. You can be content with the amount of work that you've put in and trust that what you're doing is valid and it actually means something. It's making a difference. How do you know that that's the case? Nine of Hearts. Nine of Hearts is going to let you know that influx of wealth, that influx of wishes being fulfilled, that influx of manifestations, that is going to have a direct correlation with that Seven of Spades. That is going to give you the opportunity to have that sense of being content. Maybe you haven't felt content. Maybe you haven't felt satisfied. Maybe you haven't felt fulfilled. But if that is the case, then you can count on this Nine of Hearts energy to really bring out the reason to be content, as indicated by the Seven of Spades. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Keep working at what you're doing. Keep pushing. Keep grinding. Trust in your vision. Trust in your why. Know that what you are doing, what you've been working for, the sacrifices you've been making for these things, that they are in alignment with not only your purpose, but your vision for, what your life is intended to be. And at the end of the day, whatever thy will, so mote it be, right? So with that being said, be content with the fruits of your will being expressed. Be content with the manifestations that come with it. Keep working. Don't get complacent. Don't get comfortable, of course. But trust that what you're doing matters, and that as long as you stay consistent, as long as you stay committed, as long as you stay dedicated, as long as you persist, even in those times where it's just like, ah man, I don't want to do this anymore because it's frustrating, I'm tired, I'm over it, I'm tired of looking at my bank account and not seeing enough money, or I'm tired of having to get notifications that I have an overdraft balance, or whatever kind of circumstances you may find yourself in. You have every reason to be content with the job that you've been doing. And if you haven't had a reason to feel that way, then in the month of July, Nine of Hearts, you're going to have a reason to feel that way. You're going to have a reason to be content. Next up is the Ten of Hearts. Good nature, many children. This is a really good time for those of you who have been considering maybe starting a family, or for those of you who already have children, expanding your family and having more. Maybe you want to bear more children. Maybe you want to adopt. Maybe you're taking on that role of step parent, or just that invested person in someone else's life, especially a child. So part of what that Nine of Hearts, the manifestation of the Nine of Hearts can look like, is that Ten of Hearts, being in a position to have more, in particular, have more family, have more connections. Alternatively, that child, those children's, that can also be interpreted as something that you're undergoing, a new project, or a new some sort of creative endeavor. Maybe you're starting a new business. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, your business is like your child. Excuse me. Your business is like your child, because not only like a child does your business need to be maintained, but your child can't really do too much for itself in the very beginning, and you have to keep pouring resources and time and energy and effort into it. And many times, like raising a child, it could be a thankless job. But in this case, it is something that you can be thankful for. It is opportunities that you can be glad for. Having those additions to your family could be a greater blessing for you, especially if that's something that you were looking forward to and maybe it just wasn't the time. Now's the time. Maybe you were looking to finalize that adoption process. Maybe there's a child that you identified that, there was a need for a home. Or maybe you have a relative who, for whatever reason, that child needs to spend more time with you than that relative, because you can offer them more stability, more safety, and more opportunities for growth than the environment that they're currently in. This is an expansive time. And granted, it may feel objectively like more work, more responsibilities, more obligations, because to be fair, it is. It is. But these are ones that are worthy of taking on. These are ones that you can be glad that you took on. These are additions that will enhance you, not hinder you. And the beautiful thing about this is the Joker card, the unexpected, the thing that you just can't anticipate. There's so much in this top spread up here. And the way that these things are going to be manifesting in your life are going to be unexpected. We often have a habit of trying to look for things in the world around us, look for signs or omens, indicators of manifestation or things coming our way. But oftentimes, the place or places that we're looking aren't always aligned with the places that we're headed, the places that we're moving to, the places that we're oriented towards. So we could be looking over here, and really our blessings are over here. So we're so caught up in this direction that we're not paying attention to what's happening in that one. And then there's a situation where you could possibly miss a connection, and then you just kind of have to wait for that next cycle, that next rotation. That can be avoided entirely by just embracing the fact that things are going to come the way that they have to come. That wealth and wishes in the Nine of Hearts, that's going to happen the way that it needs to happen. We may have an idea of where we think is going to come, or how we think is going to come to us, but that's all that it is, an idea. We don't know it for a fact. That what it looks like in that moment where you're able to feel content for all of your efforts. We don't know when that's going to happen. We don't know what it's going to look like. That moment where you realize that I want more than what I have, that 10 of hearts energy. I want to expand. I want to grow. I want to build. I want to have and create more and have a greater legacy to leave behind. We don't always know how that conversation is going to come about or when it's going to happen. What we do know is that the only constant is change. The unexpected represents change in our expectations, change in our perceptions, change in our ideas, our beliefs, our views, sometimes our morals, our habits, whatever the case may be. The things that are the catalysts for these changes are represented by the unexpected. You may have an unexpected pregnancy. You may think that you're doing all good. Your pull-out game might be strong, and then you wake up and it's just like, ooh, wow. So that happened. And it's a blessing, because had it not happened the way that it did, as unexpected as it may have been, it was what was supposed to happen. It is what is aligned. As you see, everything seems very aligned. Everything is very expansive this month. And there's a lot of things that are going to happen that we just aren't going to be able to account for, that are going to be the catalyst for this process of expansion. So moving on to 6 of hearts. This is shiny, so I can't read it. Person of generous and open, credulous disposition. So this card being positioned between the 9 of hearts and the 7 of spades shows that this wealth process and this being content, this, feeling more accomplished in your pursuits and that they're actually something that are viable, it's likely going to come as the result of somebody outside of you that's going to be able to give you that that eureka moment where you realize, oh, I just opened something up. I just opened up a new bag. Things that I completely forgot about, things that I had dreamed about, things that I talked about, had put on my vision board for 2-3 years ago. That thing just popped up. And this person is kind of like the herald for that. Somebody who not only is there to bring you the good news, but somebody who is very generous with their availability, their investment. Somebody who's really supportive, somebody who's really steadfast in how they show up for you. This is going to be somebody who's going to be an integral part of this process of switching from that scarcity to an abundance mindset and actually having tangible expressions of what that abundance looks like. Over here, you got the 3 of spades and you have a loss of property. So this is interesting because on one hand, 9 of hearts, wealth and wishes, but then you got 3 of spades, loss of property. So in the context of this spread here, when you look at it, especially as it relates to the 10 of hearts and the Joker, the 3 of hearts, the 3 of spades is an extension of that unexpected. So as you expand, you're going to have to break out of your current circumstances. It's almost like a crab trying to molt this old shell. You're trying to grow bigger in a small place, in a place that may have once been larger than what it is to you now, but currently it no longer is able to support you. It is no longer able to house you. So the only thing that you can do is expand. And to expand, to evolve, to grow, that means you have to let things go. So if you want a larger family, you're going to need a bigger place. If you want to take more in, you have to let more go. So in this case, it seems like is going to be material considerations that no longer fit for where you are. So, for example, if you're looking to start a family and maybe you were big on riding bikes or racing cars or something like that, right? Well, now that you're looking at expanding this family, maybe doing those things aren't exactly the kind of activity that you want to engage in because of the inherent risk. And obviously, just about anything is risky, right? That's just an example. But with this expansion, with this increase, there has to be a breaking of certain cycles, certain ways of being. For some people, that's going to be a change in their living situation. For some people, that's going to be a change in the kind of vehicle they drive. Maybe you had, a sedan. Now you need a soccer mom wagon. How it's going to happen is not a way that you can really anticipate. And oftentimes when things happen like that and we don't really have the opportunity to react, we just have to accept and adjust on the fly. It's because what is coming to us is so great that we have to just immediately be able to release attachment to those things that no longer serve us. So those things that you've been holding on to, perhaps those identities of who you were before you had these things coming in, those things are going to have to go. And if you don't want to let go, they're going to be taken. And this is not really something that you're in a position to negotiate or barter with, because ultimately this is all about putting you in alignment for the bigger picture, the bigger goal, the bigger house, the bigger car, the bigger whatever it is that you have to release with that 3 of spades, whatever it is that has to be let go. Because again, the unexpected, whether you want it to happen or not, is going to happen. But you know that it's going to happen so you can have more. So you can have much more. And this is going to be after you are already given a lot. So when you look at the 9 of hearts, the 7 of spades, when you look at the 6 of hearts, you are being given a lot this month. The 10 of hearts, you are being given a significant amount this month. But to really have the capacity for all of this, it's going to require you to let go of certain things that you've held on to. And it's okay. It's okay to let go, because you can't grasp more if you're still holding on to, what was. You can't grasp what is or is intended to be if you are still grasping onto what was. This loss of property, that's the what was. The what is, the what will be, everything else. So understand that any perceived losses that you take this month, especially as it relates to just a change of certain things and how, certain structures are established in your life, like, again, your living situation, your car, for example, don't fear that change, because you'll have everything you need to navigate it successfully. You'll have everything you need to be able to move through it and to be able to move into better than what it is that you had to let go of for it. And with that, that is our reading for the month of July. Again, my name is Cimarron-X77. This is Cimarron's Enchanted Earth. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, follow, and share this video. Again, it's always a pleasure, and I look forward to the next one. Take care.